his status was raised and he was allowed to be with the malaika, to the angels. So he was along with the angels when the order came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that make sajda to Adam, and angels obeyed immediately and they made sajda. But because jinn, like human being, have the ability of thinking and being logical, his logic showed him this path, the path of arrogance. Okay? That is, so the jinn and insan both have the ability of analyzing things and come to a right or wrong conclusion. Okay? So these are the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to jinn and insan, not to angels. Angels listen and obey. Okay? So this is what happened. They all made sajda except Iblis.
So the conclusion is, was it the name or not?
It's a both opinion. There is no conclusion. There are two opinions and both are okay. That was this his name, or the name was there because,
What he did?
yeah. Okay,
May I?
you sure?
I missed the first part, but the question that is puzzling me is that you said that jinns have the same mentality,
Ability, not
ability
Yeah.
as humans. But do they have the same mentality and the same, like Allah taught Adam alayhi salam all the words?
Mm-hmm.
So do they have that knowledge also?
They have they have different kind of knowledge. So they probably have more knowledge than people. Because shaitan has extra abilities to even read your mind. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him more abilities than human beings. Because if you are thinking of doing something, shaitan can read that, he can analyze that, and then he will lead you towards doing that action. Okay? How is that happening? He has access to your mind. He has access to our brains. This is another knowledge, level of knowledge Allah has given him. Okay? Because you're sitting and thinking about doing something wrong. Okay? And shaitan comes and says, yes, go ahead and do it. And he leads you to do that, and you do it. Which means he has the ability to think and suggest.
But it doesn't make his status higher.
No, it doesn't make his status higher.
And what make human beings higher than him?
Knowledge.
Right?
Well, no. Human being, I didn't say that human beings are better than him.
That's Allah says.
Hmm?
Allah says that the insan is the best creation.
Creation,
Yeah.
best of the creation, better than, so in terms of the creation, yes. Okay. In terms of creation, because we don't know what different abilities Allah has given to jinns, but in terms of the creation, ahsan taqweem. Okay? Ahsan taqweem does mean that best of the combination of the objects, the things that are making human being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take the best of all those ingredients and made human being. Okay? Jinns may not have some of those abilities, but they have some other abilities which are more than human being.
Different.
They can travel, which man cannot travel, distance. Sure.
Is jinn and shaitan is the same?
That is what I was explaining here. The word shaitan means someone who rebels. Okay, rebellious. Okay? And a human being can be given name as a shaitan. Actually, the word is shayatinul ins, means the pupil. Among the pupil, those who are shayateen, and shayatinul jinn. Among the jinn are those who are rebellious, shayateen. Among the jinn, there are good jinns and also bad jinns. Like among the pupil, there are good people and bad people. Okay? So the word shayateen or shaitan is used for human being also. But the word Iblis is not used for people. It is given to only that one individual who disobeyed at that particular moment Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So shaitans are jinns that are rebellious?
Yes. There are good jinns, there are obedient jinns, jinns that who perform and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are good jinns. There is a whole surah Al-Jinn in the Quran, where in another place Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that some jinn came to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they heard the Quran and they went back to their pupil and said, we have heard the Quran, we have heard some ayats of the Quran which came after the book of Musa alayhi salam, and Allah subhanahu, we don't know what Allah's intent is by sending another book. Either He wants to guide the mankind, or the mankind is going to be destroyed if they don't follow the Quran. So they went back to their own people and gave a long lecture, and those were good jinns who believe in the Quran and took the message back to their own people. On the other hand, those jinns who took the company of Iblis, they came part of his group and they took the job of misleading people along with him. So that is the word Iblis. Okay? So what he did, Aba wastakbara, let's finish this one. These three letters, Alif, Ba and Ya, means to refuse. And if I put the three fathas, it becomes he refused, which can be written as Aba, like that. He refused. So Shaitan refused to make sajda. Okay. Okay. And the next word is Kaf, Ba and Ra. Okay. And this has many meanings. One of the meanings is to become hard. And we make another word, if ta'ala, upside down the word first here, is takbara. Istakbara means to be arrogant. There is a bab called Bab Istaf Allah, where we put alif and sin in the beginning, and it makes another word. Okay. So if you put alif and sin in the beginning, it becomes a word. Istakbara means to become arrogant. Takabbur is from the same word. Okay. Istakbara, to become arrogant, and also this means he became arrogant. So he refused and he became arrogant. Okay. Wow mean and he became arrogant. And as I explained in the other parts of the Surah Al-Araf, what was his logic to become arrogant? That he thought he was better. He was made of fire. And again, Kaf, Waw, Noon means to become or to be. Okay. And if I put three fathas, Kaf, Waw, past tense, he became. He became. Okay? And this middle letter changes into alif, so it becomes kana. Wakana, and he became. So he refused to make sajda, and he became. He became what? Minal kafirin. Okay. Min means of, or from, or among. Okay. And the word is kaf, fa, and ra. And this has multiple meaning, but one meaning is to reject. And kafirun is the one who rejects. Kafirun, he who rejects. Okay. And if I put an al before that, al, then it brings the meaning the special person who rejects. Okay, the. So it becomes al kafiru, because kafirun will lose one dhamma because of the al. So it becomes al kafiru. Al-Kafiru, because al takes out one dhamma, so it becomes Al-Kafiru, the special person who rejected. Okay, someone you're pointing to that he is the one who rejected. Okay, and if I put these two letters, it makes it plural. Muslimun, Muslimun. Okay. So this will become those who reject. Okay. So al-kafiruna means those who reject. You write down this together. This is al-kafiruna. Those who rejects. Okay. Al-kafiruna, those who reject. So if you add this with the min, al-kafiruna, those who reject. Min means of. So of those who rejects. Of those who reject. Okay. So now also remember the harf-jar, what it does? It changes a dhamma into a kasra. Here, this dhamma is like because this is a plural. Okay. So this wow here is the sound of a dhamma. So this will change into sound of a ya, kasra. So because of the min, this will become kafirina. Because of the min, it becomes kafirina. So that's the word in the Quran. Minal kafirina, of those who reject, or of those We cannot translate that of those who disbelieve, because shaitan is not a disbeliever.
Yeah.
Shaitan has seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so he cannot disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only thing he did wrong was he rejected the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So does it
He is a
mean-
believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the only wrong thing that made him to be rejected was he said, I'm not going to make sajda to Adam. Okay, so that was the only crime he committed, or sin he committed, regardless if he thought he was better or not. The issue is that he disobeyed the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regardless if he was better than Adam or not. What he did, he said, I'm not going to do what you're telling me to do. That was the crime, that was the sin that he committed there. Purposely, knowingly, with arrogance, with his logic of his own mind. Okay? So that was the reason he became among those who reject the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, even though those people who are kafirun, they are not atheists. They are rejecting the command, they are rejecting the Quran, they are rejecting the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but somewhere they believe there is a God somewhere. Okay? So kafirun or kafirin are not the atheists. Okay? They are disobeying Allah, they are not disbelieving in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are hiding the truth, but they are not disbelieving in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Your question?
Yeah, and the answer kafirin means both reject or disbelieve. It could be reject,
It is used
could be
for
disbelieve.
both in the Quran. Disbelief, because if you just took a limited approach, someone who is rejecting in the Quran, so he is disbelieving that what Prophet is saying, that this is the book from Allah. He is not believing in the statement of the Prophet. So he is disbelieving the Prophet. If an angel had brought down the Quran to him in front of him, he probably would have believed in the Quran and taken the Quran. But what is he doing? The person who is speaking to him, he is rejecting that person, who is the Prophet. And based on that, he doesn't know what he is rejecting in the background, because he is rejecting the book of Allah. Okay? So kafirin has multiple meanings.
I didn't get that part. Could you repeat that?
Which one?
The rejecting, didn't see the Quran, who is...
No, I'm saying that if a person, when the Quran was coming down, and Prophet ﷺ said to the kuffar or the mushrikeen of Makkah that this is the book from Allah. So they did not believe in the Prophet. That is the reason. They rejected the Prophet right away. He says, this, what you are saying, we don't believe in you. So they are rejecting the Prophet, the words of the Prophet ﷺ. What he is saying is secondary thing. They are rejecting the person who is telling them that what I am reading from my tongue are the words of Allah. So, but they are rejecting or not rejecting the word of Allah, but they are rejecting the Prophet. So once they rejected the Prophet, everything becomes secondary after that, because then they don't have to follow what he's saying. Okay? So the reason the kafirin is used for multiple translations. Those who disbelieve, as well as those who reject, as well as those who hide the truth. The word kafir is also means someone who hides the truth. A kafir in a language is who hides a seed in the ground. Okay, like a farmer. Okay? So there are multiple meanings of that. Okay? So inshallah we'll stop here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept this from us. Sadaqallahu.